Hello future people, welcome to Getting Tabled. I'm Jason the Bruce, and today we're going to be checking out the heroes for the revised edition of Don't Look Back. So, as you know, I've been going through my pledge and releasing these videos a little bit slower than I did previously. And that's just because I want to let this content go out nice and slowly. I don't want to flood the channel with everything. I'm trying to do something different, trying to see if this helps with the growth of the channel. These are your characters for the game. So in here is all of your miniatures that your heroes can be represented by. All of these appear in the actual rulebook themselves. They all have names, they all have individual traits. Some of these existed in the previous version of the game, some of them didn't. For those that did, I will be comparing them with the original miniatures so that we can actually see if these are an improvement on the old ones or not. Let's get to it. And here we have the front of the box. So, like the previous expansions in the original edition, this comes in the VHS case. In this particular case, this is called The Heroes, because that's literally what this is. It's the miniatures for the heroes. And we continue to have this rented DVD look of it. It's a horror game. This time, they'll party themselves to death. BSS home video. That's a nice touch. Artwork continues on the side. It's a core set. And then on the back, it gives the details of the game itself. So in this we have 8 resin hero miniatures, 8 character cards, and 28 item cards. So, yeah. Unfortunately, mine did arrive broken, which is admittedly a shame, but it's not that big of a deal, I suppose. I think I've managed to push it back into place, actually. Mine was packed by the lovely Talon. Thank you. These are literally what we were reading in the actual rulebook when I did the review. So I'm not going to go into these in much detail. The artwork on these is the same. It's just changed to be a 4x6 card instead of a full page. Looks nice. They work really nicely. So I'm just going to go through these slowly. I'm not going to go through all of the details. We have a pistol. We have an assault rifle, a flashlight, an energy drink, an antique sword, a nail gun, a lighter, a knife, a bow, a machete, a hunting rifle, a chainsaw, a shotgun, a baseball bat, sedative gas, wood axe, cricket bat, crowbar, 6-shooter, an Uzi, bag of snacks, bandage, old lockbox, a phone, a set of keys, a first aid kit, a bottle, a battery, sturdy boots, Northwood field guide, a radio, DeGraw's serum gun, and a combat vest. So all of these are things that you will find again in the rulebook itself. It's just handy to have the cards, pretty much. We're starting off with the main man, Seth. First and foremost, I love Seth's tie. It's absolutely phenomenal. The sculpting on this is really, really nice as well. Interesting choice to have the flashlight open like that. I mean, they could have very easily just had a flat thing there because most torches would be like that anyway. But they've chosen to keep it open, which is interesting. I actually like that. It makes painting it a little bit more interesting. Detail on the back is really nice as well. Belt loops. It's all really, really well done. Up next, we have Denise. Standing there and talking on Daddy's mobile phone. Because, well, she's far more important. She doesn't have to worry about what all these guys are going on about. Daddy will get her out of this trouble. She just wants to get away. These people are annoying her anyway. All this talk of killers and so forth. Yeah, she is very much that character, and she really does look the part. We have Ranger Sandy, who is, again, a character that continues on from the old set. She is in 2 parts because she's a little bit more complicated than the other ones that we were looking at. Really, really nice detail. Loving the boots. Like, this is just really, really nice. I will have to do some trimming here before I can actually put them on, but we can kind of see how this is going to line up. Obviously, it's going to eventually have the gun pointed out in front of her. Detail's really nice. There's no evidence of bending or breaks. It's been sculpted and it's been cast really nicely. Up next we have Mia. This is one of our new characters, so there will be no comparison for this. She's wearing fishnet stockings that have been torn in places and actually look like actual fishnet stockings. That's been done really nicely. I've never really seen anybody pull this off successfully. Well done, Ben. Well done. Really, really nice detail here. Mia's very much a punk type character. Very, very, very sure of herself. I'm loving like the stretching here in the jacket where she's kind of twisted around a little bit. So, first hand here. I was trying to figure out what this actually was at first. You can just see the fingers at the end there, with appears to have a chain wrapped around it. It doesn't show up on camera very well because this is very, very tiny, but you can kind of just see it there. So what she appears to have done is she stretched the jacket out so that she can use the chains at the end of the jacket as part of a weapon. Hence why it's been stretched out that way. The other hand, again, this is very small and delicate, but this is just a punching fist. So that would be coming off this way, whereas the one that's been stretched will come off that way. So here we have Holden. Holden's very, very much been updated. Still looks really nice. I'm loving the flat top. Very, very, very 80s look. With his leather jacket, his nice long pants. He's still holding the gun, which is the same weapon that he had in the original. So again, we can kind of see how this is going to go. I need to trim it, obviously, but this is going to be out in front of him, cocking it, ready to go. Up next we have Keen. So this again is one of the new characters. So Keen comes in a wheelchair, which is very, very unique for the setting. I haven't seen this yet. It's really, honestly, a very traditional looking wheelchair. Bit of a seam issue there by the look of it, unless that's... Oh no, that looks like it's the design feature. Sorry, nope. There's not a lot of actual seam problems on this, honestly. This is all really nice. It's an older style looking wheelchair. It's been done really nicely. I like the backwards hat. You can still see his hair there. There you can see the wheels for the size comparison. They just have a lug there in the back, just so you can get an idea of how they sit. There's one for each side. And last but not least, we have his hands. So there's one. And there's the other. Rock on! So again, pretty easy to see how that's going to sit. Just kind of really going with the flow. He's in the middle of his party mood quite clearly. Kind of reminds me of Glass from that Bruce Willis movie. A little bit. Up next we have Alice, the cheerleader, because every horror film needs to have a cheerleader. Again, this is a returning character, so this is one that I'll be able to give you a comparison for. Really love the details on the legs. Little bit of a seam going up the side there, although that could be the tight. No, it's a seam. I was thinking it might have been the hem on the tights that she would be wearing, but it's not. Lovely detail in the like really toned looking legs, muscles there. A little bit of flashing around the side here by the look of it. So that is something that you would need to clean up, or you would want to clean up most likely. It's quite thick as well, actually. Maybe that's deliberate. And then we also have her pom pom, because she's a cheerleader. She needs to have a pom pom. And then, last but not least, she still has her megaphone. So one thing to keep on mind with the megaphone is that we do have this gate here that's going to need to be cut away. That's going to be there because it will have needed to be there for casting. Otherwise, you would have needed to have connect this together, and it would have needed to be in two separate parts, which would have just been asking for trouble, honestly. Really nice. So that's going to be something along these lines. Oh, the pom-pom is going to be something along those lines. And now we have the abs. It's Max, the abs. They really have gone to town here with his jacket. That's just incredible. That's really, really nicely done. It's going to make painting it a breeze too. With his mullet, really, really sure of himself. Really, really nice. Loving everything to do with this, honestly. It looks really, 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 really good. We have our first warpage. We haven't really had much up until now. That's not going to be a problem. Fixing this will be very easy. All I'll need to do is heat this up with some warm water and bend it back into place and then cool it down again. Don't bend this otherwise. Make sure you heat this up first. Given the size of this bat, I'm not really surprised that it's warped. But like I said, it's really, really easy to fix this. It won't be a problem at all. So, here we have our first side-by-side comparison. So you can see first and foremost, there is actually more detail in this new one than there was in the previous. It's actually a very similar pose. It's not the same, but it is very similar. A lot more detail in the shirt. It's very clearly tucked in here. I mean, it is here as well, but there's no real bulging around it. Where this is much, much more detailed. Like I said, it definitely resembles the original. There's definitely some similarities here, but it is definitely different as well. They've done really, really nicely here. Denise, once again, like there's just a lot more detail here. Now, this isn't to say that these ones are bad by any means. I mean, this certainly isn't my best painting ever. I'd never really finished these, but it's still very reminiscent. She was holding her daddy's phone here. She's actually on the phone. Probably has been on the phone the entire time they've been away. Only really half paying attention. There's a lot more detail here. This one looks more like a business lady than it does some snooty girl. Where this is very clearly a snooty teenager that thinks she's better than everybody else. Max, again, there's just a lot more detail here. So we lose the LH on the front, but to be fair, his arms would probably be covering that up anyway. And the back is just worlds better. Like Ben has just improved in his sculpting so much. They are actually, and I haven't done the size comparison, they're basically the same size. But yeah, these are so much nicer. Here's Alice. Again, very, very, very similar. But The biggest difference here is that her arms are the other way around. So you'll remember that the megaphone's coming off this, and the pom-pom's up on this one. So they've basically flipped her around. And she's more solid on the ground, which means that she'll stay on the base easier. Oh, I've just noticed my toe's broken. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, I'm actually going to have to reach out to them for that. That's actually a real shame. I only just noticed that. And in this one, Ranger Sandy, although very similar in styling, like the boots are very similar, the socks are above the boots, and so on and so forth. Ranger Sandy in the new pose is far more action orientated. This just feels like a random NPC in the background that doesn't appear in the story, whereas this is very much someone that is part of the story. And for one last comparison, these are the two boxes side by side. I mean, this is one of the very, very first boxes they ever did. The artwork alone stands this apart, but this is just a million times better at this point. Like, everything about this new box looks better than the original. It's a massive upgrade, and they've done really well. This is something they should be proud of. So I think for those that were already into Don't Look Back, the big question with these minis were these an improvement on the old ones? Now, I know I said this a couple of times during the review, but I want to make this very clear. The old miniatures are not bad. They're already very nice. These are so much nicer. It just goes to show how much Ben has developed in his sculpting in such a short period of time. They are doing outstanding work across there at Don't Look Back. They've actually been recognised for that on Tabletop a couple of times as well. This is a fantastic set. Look, in theory, if you own miniatures of your own that you feel fit, sure, you could use them. But honestly, when it comes to a small company like this, if you want to buy the game, you probably want to support them as well. Plus, these are actually really good value. I highly recommend them. You've made it through to the end of another video. Your next mission is to hit subscribe and comment down below. If you'd like to reach out to the team, consider doing that, gettingtabled@gmail.com. Consider subscribing to our Patreon. For only $2 a month, you get early access to almost every single video that we do. Our most active social media is facebook.com/gettingtabled. It's where you'll find everything first. There's also a Discord. There's an invite on screen right now. If you type that in, it'll give you instant access. If you're on Twitter or Instagram, you can find us at gettingtabled. It's not the most active, but it's something we're trying to use more all the time. Come and check out Jason the Bruce at Twitch. He does both video game and hobby content. And of course, without question, play more.